Welcome to the Stoic Responder Podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Healy. As a special agent who spent more than 15 years conducting large-scale fraud, money laundering, and public corruption investigations, Stoic philosophy provided a mindset edge that became the foundation of my professional success. My mission today is to share those same ancient mindset lessons with you so that you can turn obstacles into opportunities and adversity into advantage. Time to muster up. Hey, welcome back to the Stoic Responder Podcast. This is episode 101, and we're going to dig in on one of my favorite Stoic quotes today, and it's one that I actually give full keynote speeches about. So you're going to get like just a really just drop in the bucket, tiny little bit of what I talk about in my keynote addresses when I talk about this quote today. Before we get into the quote and digging in deeper on it, let me remind you that I will not be here the week of the 25th of November or the week of the 2nd of December. Just so happens that there's this little holiday called Thanksgiving. Kids are out of school. My wife's birthday falls in that same time period. My parents' anniversary. There's just a lot of things to celebrate. And I'm going to take 2 weeks off of recording and producing a podcast so that I can be fully present with my family during that time. I'm also going to take 2 weeks off around Christmas and the New Year. Again, kids are out of school. It's a great time to take a little breather. And that's going to be the week of December 23rd and the week of December 30th. So we got a couple of weeks here. I'll be putting out a podcast. Obviously, we've done 4 this week. We'll be putting out 4 next week, but then I'll be taking 2 weeks off. So if you're looking for a fresh, brand new podcast the week of Thanksgiving, you're going to have to look elsewhere. But I will be back after that break. So get into it, folks. This episode is called Feed the Fire, and that is because of this quote from Marcus Aurelius. And it goes like this: "The blazing fire makes flames and brightness out of everything thrown into it." As I said, this is one of my absolute favorite quotes. I'm trying to figure out how to get this quote turned into a tattoo. I got a buddy in Florida who is a professional tattoo artist who's just an incredible talent. I've got one of his tattoos on my left arm, and I might send him this quote and say, turn this into a tattoo for me, and I'll get it when I am there over Christmas. It's just such a powerful quote to me. And I think what it means is really it's what Marcus Aurelius is talking about is the human capacity for resilience. And as I said, this quote inspired an entire keynote address that I give. I just gave it a couple of weeks ago in Alabama to a group of law enforcement. I give an address on building resilience, and I really deeply reference this quote about feeding the fire, about using the blazing fire to fuel a greater part of you. And I'm not going to get into all of that today because honestly, my speech usually runs about 50 to 55 minutes long, and y'all don't want to listen to me sermonize for that long on a podcast, but you're more than welcome to book me to come in and speak to your organization if you want the full version. But basically, this quote is saying that humans have an incredible capacity for resilience. And like the fire that continues to burn, we can endure and emerge stronger from the challenges we face, right? The fire in this case is adversity. That's essentially what he's talking about. When we're faced with challenges, it's our mindset that determines whether that adversity, whether those challenges cause us to be consumed by that fire, or whether we rise above and become brighter as a result. Or, the way that you can look at this is you've got a fireplace, or I've got a chimenea on my back porch. For those of you who are not from Texas, that's like a little Mexican kind of clay fireplace and chimney. And you put kindling in it, and the fire grows and glows. And, the fire can die out without kindling on it. The fire can grow brighter, but the fire is going to consume everything that you put into it. You think of your experiences as that kindling. The fire is the adversity, right? It's the challenge. Now, that challenge can cause you to burn out. It can cause you completely, it can consume everything in there, and it can burn down to nothing, burn down to ash, right? Or that fire can bring warmth and brightness. So there's a duality, in other words, to the kindling, to what you're putting in and how you're feeding that fire. You can look at it from that positive of it's going to burn me out, it's going to burn me to nothing, it's going to turn me to ash. You can look at the positive aspect of it, which is this adversity I'm facing, this challenge I'm facing is going to make me grow bigger and brighter. It's going to bring warmth and brightness to those around me. It's going to lead the way. It's going to light the path for someone else. That is also what fire can do. See, the transformative power of adversity is rooted in the idea that it provides us with invaluable lessons. And just as fire purifies and refines, adversity refines our character. We've talked about this before. There's a Seneca quote that I absolutely love about polishing a gemstone, right? He essentially says that a gemstone does not become polished without friction, and neither does a man become perfected without challenges, without adversity. It's the same idea. That in that case, the gemstone stands in for the fire. We need adversity, in other words, to become a better version of ourselves, to become what that rock is when it becomes a gemstone, to become that bigger, brighter flame that lights the path, that lights the way, that brings warmth and brings brightness to the darkness. We need adversity. It provides us with invaluable lessons. It purifies and refines us. It refines our character. It forces us to confront our weaknesses. It forces us to develop the qualities of courage, of patience, of perseverance. And in that crucible of adversity, in that fire, we often discover the qualities and capabilities that we never knew we possessed. I can speak from considerable experience, and that is really where my keynote address goes. It talks about the power of the fire to refine us, to purify us, to help us confront our weaknesses, to help us develop those qualities of courage, perseverance, of resilience. Because in that crucible, we discover qualities and capabilities. We find what we're able to push past and become. It reveals the gemstone inside us. In other words, it brings out our finest qualities. It creates the friction we need to become a better version of ourselves. Now, whether we do that through, and this is a theory that anyone who's ever been through a law enforcement academy can attest to. Anybody who's ever been through a military boot camp can attest to. That is what it is. You are put through a crucible, a challenge, a difficult situation to become greater on the other side of it, to rise up out of that as a greater version of yourself. And there are going to be people who can't hack it, who can't do it, who don't have the mindset or the resilience to get through it. But those that do emerge a better, more refined version of themselves. That's the idea behind it, behind the crucible of adversity. And we find that in other areas of our lives. You want to experience something, you want to learn something about yourself, go run a marathon, sign up for an Ironman, do an ultra, do a bodybuilding competition, do something that forces you voluntarily to throw kindling onto the fire, to make it grow bigger and brighter. Do something that causes that fire to grow voluntarily. And then you will learn things about yourself that allow you to overcome the challenges you weren't expecting, the involuntary adversity that we all have to face in this life. I have learned so much from Ironman, from ultramarathon, from marathon, from bodybuilding shows, from all of those voluntary things that I've done in my life that have been there for me, that have given me a well to draw from, a well of experiences to draw from, that have made me feel confident and comfortable that I can overcome adversity when it hits me unexpectedly, whether it was in work, whether it was in family life, personal life. Life is hard and none of us are going to get through it on the other side. So we have to be strong. We have to have a refined character. And the only way to have that refined character is to use that flame, to feed that flame, and to let it purify us. There's a fire within each and every one of us. And every day, we're going to fuel it with kindling. And that kindling is going to come in the form of adversity, of challenges. It's our choice whether that fire purifies us and gives us light and warmth and allows us to bring light and warmth to others, or whether it consumes us with its destructive power. We have that choice. We have that choice to be turned to ash or to burn brighter and bigger and to light the way for others. That's on us. All right, there's a taste of my keynote speech that I love to give to law enforcement. I personalize the experience. I get deep into it. I share some other Stoic quotes that I think really rev my engine. But man, I'll tell you what, that quote right there has meant more to me in my life. The blazing fire makes flames and brightness out of everything thrown into it. It has meant more to me in my life than almost any Stoic quote that I can tell you. I've come back to that so many times in my life, that this right here, what I'm facing right here, this is kindling for the fire. This is going to make flames and brightness out of everything. It's going to burn. It's going to be a crucible. I'm going to have to go through this, but this is going to purify me. It's going to give me greater character. It's going to make me a better version of myself on the other end of it. More times in my life than I can count, I have leaned into this message and have always come out on the other side a better version of myself. So I hope you take that with you as well. Let me leave you with a journal prompt, I should say. Ask yourself this: will I burn brighter because of this adversity? Figure out, what are you facing right now? What adversity are you facing? Is it in your relationship, in your job, and work? Something that you are dealing with that is involuntary. It's an adversity that you cannot avoid. It's happening to you, not something that you sought out. Ask yourself, will I burn brighter because of this adversity, or will I let it consume me? Confront that. Deal with it head on. Figure out the ways that this thing that you're facing can refine your character and lean into it. Make it your mission to emerge a bigger, bolder, brighter version of yourself than you were before. Folks, thank you so much for listening this week. We'll be back, as I said, next week with 4 more episodes before I go on Thanksgiving break. In the interim, if you would like to support this podcast, there's a few ways that you can do so. Number one, and the most important thing that you can do if you want to help keep the lights on over here at this little podcast that could, is to pick up a copy of my book. It is called In Valor 365, Stoic Meditations for First Responders. It's available on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, anywhere you get your books. It's available on Kindle and Nook for instant download right now, or you can pick up a paperback edition if you like to take notes and highlight like I do. It's a great resource for anyone in a law enforcement or first responder career. It also makes a great Christmas gift if you're looking for a Christmas gift, and I would be happy to get a signed copy out to you for Christmas as well. If you want to shoot me a message, shoot me an email, shoot me a message on my website, shoot me a message on social media. I'll be happy to figure out how we can get you a signed copy for someone that you love for this Christmas. But yeah, it's going to give you just a way to practice this philosophy daily. And it's going to give you quotes, contextualization that are directly relatable to your life, some daily journal prompts and action items as well that can help you integrate those lessons. If you would like to get these in your email inbox 4 times a week, you can subscribe to The Stoic Responder at thestoicresponder.substack.com. I won't spam you. I won't sell you anything. I will simply send you 4 of these podcasts a week, 1 a day that you can listen to in anywhere from 5 to 15-minute increments on your way to or from work. It's just going to give you a little taste of stoicism that hopefully will help you live a better life. And finally, the easiest way for you to support this podcast that costs you nothing is to like, share, and subscribe so that others can learn about what we're doing here and find this podcast as well. So again, folks, thanks so much for listening. Go out there, have a great weekend, live your lives with valor, and until next time, you are out. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to subscribe, like, rate, and share this podcast so that we can spread the benefits of Stoicism to other first responders. It will only take you a few moments, but it can help us tremendously. Until next time, out of roll.